I wanted to talk to you about selecting a brokerage in this video. So my name's Dean Baker. I'm the author of the Lockbox, which you can grab a copy today on Amazon. I've been in the real estate business now 33 years. I've been through 3 recessions and I built a career out of nothing. So anyway, you might want to grab a pen and some paper because we're going to talk about quite a bit of information here today. So the title is How to Select a Real Estate Broker to Hang Your License With. So like I said, this is something, legality that you've got to do. A real estate broker, sometimes called the designated broker or the responsible broker, is the person that is actually responsible for all your actions during the sale. So it's really important that you and that broker get along really well and you choose the right broker. So I wanted to talk about key factors that you should all consider. Now, myself, I had a real estate brokerage for quite some time with 90 real estate agents or salespeople working under me as a broker. And there's a lot to know, and it's very important before you select which brokerage you're going to go to that you do some research and background on the brokerage. So let's get started here. Sharing my screen with you. Why choosing the right broker matters? Well, it really does impact your income. So, and your training and your success. You need to not only find, a lot of agents want to find the brokerage that pays them the most money, which is very understandable, but there's more to it than that. You're looking for a brokerage that will help you grow, help you train with your training and help you in your success. So there's a lot to it more than the money aspect, and I'll explain that to you here shortly. And it shapes your day-to-day experience. What's the culture like there? What are the salespeople like? What's their ethics? So very important, again, that you really look and do your due diligence on selecting a brokerage. So training and mentorship is probably the most important aspect if you're a new agent. Okay, there's agencies that will really dive in and help you and train you and mentor you along. And then there's other agencies that are more, let's say, you probably heard of the 100% model where supposedly you get 100% of your commission. Well, it basically boils down to this. The more you pay your brokerage in commission split, typically you're going to get more one-on-one training, mentorship, a little more, I don't want to say hand-holding, but somebody that's really invested in your career. Now, on the other hand, if you're maybe a seasoned agent, you may want to consider 100% real estate company, which you pay a small fee and you get 100% of your commission. However, you get what you pay for. And in those circumstances, sometimes you will not get the one-on-one service that you would get maybe from a smaller or independent company or a franchise real estate company that's really looking into the training. Because again, to operate 100% brokerage, you need a lot of agents. And the more agents that the company has, the less attention you're going to get. So you want to look at that. And we're going to go to the whiteboard here in a minute. I'm going to show you the differences between the two. So structured onboarding program. What is their onboarding program? Are they going to help you get started with websites, get your cards going, get your database or CRM program going? And CRM, for those that you don't know, in the continuing videos, we're going to go into the importance of a CRM, and it's basically where you put all your people that you're working with into one database. So it's very important. There's many different CRMs, so you want to ask about that. What's their onboarding program for you? And are they going to offer to help you pay for some of the fees? Now, when you join a brokerage, then you've typically got to go join National Association of Real Estate Agents, Realtors, and you need to join the local board of realtors for your lockbox key, for your access to MLS. And you may want to ask that brokerage if they're willing to help you out with some of those fees. So, and that'll help you as you get started, because I think all those fees together, depending on which board of realtors you're working with, could be in excess of $1,500. So ongoing coaching and support, a lot of brokerages, I'm not going to say a lot, but some, there's so much excitement. You got your license. They want to recruit you. You see, a brokerage makes its money by recruiting agents. The more agents the brokerage has, the more money the brokerage makes. But there's a point where the brokerage is so big, unless they have the support of staff in place to help you, that's okay. But if you're joining a large brokerage where it doesn't have the support staff, that's an issue. So you want to find out what the support staff's like, what the coaching is, and so forth. So that's something you want to do in your due diligence. Contract negotiation guidance, that usually comes down to the broker. The broker's going to teach you contracts, keep you from getting sued or into situations that you don't want to be in. So it's very important that you find a broker that has been in the business a while and knows what they're doing. So contract negotiation, again, maybe you write a contract on a home and you need some help negotiating it. That's typically when you call the broker, and if they've got a lot of experience, they can help you in negotiating deals. Super important. I've seen agents that the broker, you can't get a hold of them, and they're terrible negotiators because they're new and they're not sure what they're doing. So that's important as well. Even if it's an agent within the office that's maybe a top producer or a seasoned agent that can help you with negotiations, super important. So why choosing the right broker matters? Well, we've been talking about it, and it does impact your income. One thing I want to say about impacting your income, you don't want to broker hop. When you select a brokerage, you want to try to hang in there for as long as possible. You don't want to keep going to different brokerages because, number one, clients need to be familiar with what brokerage you're working for, because a client could want to buy something 3 years down the road and you've already gone on to some other brokerage. Your client doesn't know how to find you, so that'll impact your income. It also looks bad on you if you keep moving different brokerages and offices and people start to think, well, what's the deal with that person moving all the time? Again, shapes your day-to-day experience. And this is crucial for new and experienced agents alike. So, okay, we're going backwards here. Sorry about that. Okay, commission split structure. Now, this is huge. This is mainly what most agents are concerned with. What are they going to get when joining a brokerage? So there's different splits. Okay, so basically you have what's called your traditional real estate office, which they take a percentage of your commission. So you'll see here 70-30. So what that is the brokerage gets 30% of your commission and you get to keep the remainder 70%. That's a traditional commission split. Now, what's nice about that is there's not a lot of fees that go with it. You need to check, but typically most of your things are covered. For example, when I had a traditional office with a split, and I would pay for signs, I would pay for lock boxes, some of the CRM programs, different things that I would pay for as added services. Now, on a 100% model, you may pay a low monthly fee to get 100% of your commission. But the thing is you've really got to watch out for fees that may be charged to you in addition. You see, it's very expensive to run a real estate brokerage. It is just, you depend on the agent's income. So whether you're getting 70% of their income or 100% and then charging them for maybe a desk rent, office space, copies, just anything you can think of, they'll add it on to your bill and try to recoup revenue from you. They've got to get it one way or the other. So you really need to look at their commission structure specifically. So you're going to get more services, more training, more mentoring, more things paid for with a traditional office, especially if things slow down and the market's not very busy. You probably are not going to get as many monthly bills as you would in 100% brokerage. Because if you're not making sales in 100% brokerage, they're not making any income. So they're still going to bill you for your office rent and so forth. So if the market slows down, you're going to owe money to the brokerage. So I'm going to go over to the whiteboard here, and I'm going to break this down a little bit and show you. You also need to understand caps. There's some brokerages, if you bring a certain amount of commission into the brokerage, then you go 100%. Cap offices are similar. What they really are is a mix of a traditional office versus a traditional office and 100% model combined. Because a lot of time you get a lot of the traditional services, training and so forth, but then you have the opportunity to go to 100% within that model. So those are great offices to look at as well. And you've got to watch your transaction fees and who pays for your signs. I mean, signs are $100 and something each. Lockboxes are $100 each. Who pays for all those items so that you can do your business? So, and you need to calculate what your true take-home pay is. So I'm going to break away here a second and show you some of the different models and how commissions are figured. So hang on just a minute with us. On the whiteboard, so I want to talk to you and kind of show you, and a lot of you are new out there and not sure how real estate agent commissions work. So I'm going to give you an example of a home sale. So you sell a home, let's make it easy. You sell a home for $500,000, okay? That $500,000 is the purchase price, and that's what you'll end up closing escrow on, okay? Now you have to find out what commissions are being offered, and commissions are negotiable. Every office is charged different commissions. That's something else you might want to ask before you sign up with a brokerage. What's their commission rate? What's their minimum commission? What's their maximum commission? What's their rules on commissions? What's their rules on sharing commissions with other real estate agents? So you want to talk about that as well. So let's just say on this home sale, the total commission being paid is 5%. That's the total commission. So 500,000 times 5%, that equals a $25,000 commission. Okay? Sounds wonderful. Everybody thinks as agents we make tons of money, but here we go. Most cases, I'm not sure what the percentage is, probably 70 to 80%, you probably won't sell this home yourself. Once you put it on multiple listing service, it feeds out to Zillow and Redfin and all these companies. All the agents know about your listing. So the chances of you selling the listing yourself is kind of rare. So in most cases, you'll be splitting this 5%. I say in most, it just depends. I'm kind of showing you the average of what goes on. So that means 2.5% will go to the listing agent. So let's just pretend this is your listing, you're the listing agent. And the other 2.5% will go to the sales agent. Okay? So you're going to pay on your listing 2.5% to a sales agent that brings you a buyer. So right away, we've got this commission. We have to divide it in two, and now your commission is $12,500. Okay? So now from the $12,500, you're going to pay your brokerage. Now, if you're on 100%, you're going to keep 100% of this commission. If you're on a traditional brokerage, you're going to pay 30%, let's say 20% to the brokerage. It's negotiable as well. So this is where we figure out which brokerage we want to work for. And you might all say, yeah, I want to go work for 100% brokerage, but I'm going to explain a few things here. So let's keep this $12,500 in mind, and we'll go with which brokerage to choose. So 2.5%, you're paying that to the sales agent that brought a contract and a buyer, and you get $12,500. Now, depending on which brokerage you choose, a traditional brokerage or 100% brokerage is going to determine what you put in your pocket. So let's clear this out, and let's just work with that $12,500. Okay, so our commission's $12,500, right? And let's say we work for a traditional, we'll call this traditional brokerage. Traditional brokerage. Okay, so out of the 12.5, let's say you negotiated a deal called an 80-20. 80% goes in your pocket, 20% goes in the broker's pocket. Okay, so we've got our $12,500 times 80%. So you're going to keep 80%, which is $10,000. Okay? So you're paying that broker, you're paying the broker $2,500 for their services. Okay? So you get $10,000. Now, you need to watch out if there's any transaction fees, desk fees. Just check all the fees that could come out of this $10,000, okay? A lot of times in a completely traditional office, there'll be minimal fees, like I said before, and that's great for a new agent because if the market gets slow, you don't want to have to continue making mandatory monthly fees. So if you're new, you need the training, you need the mentoring, you need the support, I would go with a traditional office. Let me tell you, in my 30-year career, I've never been at any office that hasn't been traditional. And back in my day, when I started, the commission splits were 60-40. 60 going to me, 40 going to the brokerage. So it's gotten better over the years. Okay? So now, if you're working the same $12,500, okay, you're working for a 100% company, okay, so you get to keep $12,500, 100%. But there's probably a monthly fee. So to work at 100% brokerage, you may pay, I'm just guessing here, I think I'm pretty close, $250 a month. That's mandatory. That's the amount of money that it costs to work there. Now this could range $250 on up, just depends on the brokerage. So $250 to work there. Then you may have a transaction fee for every transaction you make. So the transaction fee could be $400, could be on a sliding scale. So the smaller commission is a smaller transaction fee, and a bigger deal, like a $2 million deal, could be a different transaction fee. So you've got to figure out what the transaction fee is. So you're at $250, $400. Then you have your desk rent. So you may be paying $300 a month for a desk. Okay. Let's say you have an office, nice little office to come in and show people properties, maybe $600 a month. And these are pretty close examples. It'll vary depending on the office, whether you're in a New York high-rise or you're somewhere in a small town in Texas. So it's going to make a difference. But I want to explain it to you when you go to a brokerage that you ask these questions. So this would be desk rent, okay, $400 transaction fee, okay, 300. What did I say that was for? Remember this was office space. No, this was desk. And this is just the monthly fee to work at 100%. You see, the broker's got to get money to run this brokerage from somewhere. So it's going to be cheaper. So let's see where we're at here. 250, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1550. My math's right. Okay, 1550 is all you got to pay to get 100% of your commission. Over here, you've got to pay $2,500 at a traditional real estate office. Okay, but in here, do you have to pay for your lockbox, your signs, your copies, your toilet paper, whatever? Do you have to pay that? You need to check that because there could be line items, and these will come right out of your pocket. Okay, so we've got $1,550 minus $2,500. Okay, so the disparity between the two is $950. Okay? Not much when you think about it. Now, out of the $950, are you getting training? Okay? Mentoring? Are you getting lock boxes? Signs? Support? Staff? So you've got to figure if this is worth the extra $950. In my opinion, absolutely. Because if you're a newer agent, you need to spend a little money on growing your business and success. So if you're an experienced agent, you don't need much of this. You can go with the 100% option. Just depends on where you're at. Either way, $950 is not going to make a difference on your career. So don't get hung up on commission only. What's going to make a difference on your career is mentoring, training, and support. It's going to make you a lot more money in the long run. So, and for agents, for brokerages to survive at $1,550, they have to have a lot of agents. So you may look at a company that's 100% with 200 agents because it takes that many agents to make the overhead. But you might find a traditional company with, let's say, 80 agents. Well, which broker is going to be able to spend more time with you? 80 agents or 200 agents? Okay? Unless the 100% office has a lot of staff to help you out. Okay, so let's just take, you made $10,000 on this, and remember, so you make 10 grand, okay? Remember that you're going to pay taxes on that. So let's say you're going to pay $3,000 in taxes, okay? And you've got to spend $1,000 a month in marketing, okay? Broker fee, taxes, and that's in general about what you're going to have. So you're going to have $6,000 left to you after you sell a $500,000 house. Well, that's the reality of it. Okay, $6,000. So it's a huge difference from the what do we start out with? 24,000. A huge difference. So I hope that helps. Hope I didn't confuse you too much, but something you need to consider when you're choosing a brokerage. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff. Okay, guys. Well, we went over the commission splits, and some other things that you want to consider is local and national recognition. Okay, so basically, do you go with a local company that's well known, that has a great reputation, and is very involved in the community? So if somebody's considering selling their home, that they think of this company top of mind as the real go-to local company, well, that's somebody that you want to interview with. It's really important. If you don't have a company like that, you may want to look at the national recognition of a Keller Williams or a Coldwell Banker or Remax, a franchise real estate company that is well known already. So if you don't have a well-known local company, go with the franchise company, because it's hard enough to build your brand and get you top of mind and trustworthy. But if you work with a company that already has a name, it's going to lessen your workload a lot. So look at that and just kind of ask people in your community, hey, if you were going to sell your house, who would you call? Give you a good test of the market and what agencies are top of mind. Client trust and brand credibility. Again, that's something that you're going to get by searching a community, or maybe even a post in social media. Who's the best real estate company in our town? Who's the most ethical? Things like that. Online reviews and market position. That's huge. Online reviews are everything. And there'll be some companies that have 500 reviews and others that maybe have 3 reviews. Well, in most cases, many people are going to go with the most reviews. So, and then there's a reason for those reviews. They're taking care of their customers. And that's the kind of company you want to be associated with. Local brand strength and credibility, visibility, community involvement. Let's go back to visibility. You don't really want a small company that nobody knows about, because you're going to have to work 10 times harder proving who you are, because you work with a no-name company. So you need to consider that as well. And community involvement's huge. When I had my local real estate company, we did the parades, we did the swap meet, we did all the car shows and the community events. We donated to schools. We even had a hot air balloon that we flew over the community. So community involvement is huge as well. So, and people want to work and give their money to companies that care about people in the community. So make sure you check that out as well. Lead business and generation. Let me tell you guys, if you think you're going to go into this business and the brokerage is going to give you leads and you're going to make a successful career out of what the brokerage is feeding you, you're totally wrong. It doesn't work that way. You may get a lead or two from your brokerage over the course of a year, depending how large the brokerage is. Most all your leads are going to be self-generated. And you really need to read my book, The Lockbox. In here, I have a whole chapter on, are you a fisherman or are you a hunter? You cannot rely on your brokerage to give you leads. So anyway, lead quality and volume. Okay, if they're saying they're promising you leads through their CRM program or website or whatever it is, first you got to ask what the leads are going to cost you. And then you got to find out what's the quality of the lead. Are they giving you junk leads and charging you for them? That's leads that never turn into anything, leads that are not qualified? Or are they giving you really good leads that the people are gonna buy or sell, okay? And you're willing to pay for those leads because they're going to come to fruition, okay? So you need to find out, and the volume, how many leads are you gonna get? Very important. In my book, I talk about what you need to do to create your own leads and to create your own business, and don't expect somebody else to do your business for you. And that's going to be where you build real wealth. So don't focus in on that. There's nothing for free, and they're not going to give you free leads and you're going to be successful. So referral fees or lead splits. Okay. Sometimes an agency will say, well, here's a lead. They're qualified. They're going to buy. Give us 25% for the lead. Plus, you also got to give them the percentage or your fees, whether you're 100% or a traditional broker. These leads are expensive, guys, and you're going to have to pay for them one way or the other. Referral fees. Now, referrals are great. That's when somebody and you'll get more referrals with a franchise company. So let's say somebody sells a home with Keller Williams in Los Angeles, and they want to move to Austin, Texas. So the Keller Williams in Los Angeles arranges for the buyer, the seller in Los Angeles, to buy in Austin. They'll arrange a Keller Williams agent, and you'll get a referral fee for that. So let's say you're in LA. I don't want to confuse you. You're in LA. You just sold a person's home. They want to move to Austin. You pick up the call and say, fellow Keller Williams agent, I've got a buyer coming to Austin. Do you want to work with them? And if you sell them something, I get a 25% referral fee or 35% or whatever it is in that company. You'll see that a lot in franchise companies, which is a bonus, their referral system. So there's also referrals you can do for veterans if you live near a military base, or referrals for people that work for large corporations and things like that. So you need to find out about the referrals and the splits for them. Okay, tech tools. In my company, I had the best CRM program, customer relationship management software, database, CRM is what it is. And that's where you keep all your customers and clients. It also included a website. It was a website and a CRM. And it used IA. It was the best thing on the market and was great. And that's something I offered my agents. You need to figure out if they do offer that, or do you have to pay for it on your own. Some CRMs could be as much as $1,500 a month if you do it on your own. In my book, I've come up with ways that you can make that affordable. But if you don't have a CRM, you don't have a career. You have to have a CRM. As an agent in the real estate business, all you have is your people, your customers and your people. You don't own the building. You don't own the furniture. You don't own nothing but your people. So you have to have a place to put them so you can continue following up and nurturing them long term. Okay, does the brokerage have a digital signatures program like DocuSign or LoopNet or DigiSign, something that you can send contracts and paperwork, and your customer, all they have to do is click on the lines and it signs automatically? It's a wonderful tool for real estate agents, and you've got to have it. So does the company offer that? What is their marketing platform? Now, are these included or are these additional costs? And the ease of use. Some agencies have got programs that are so difficult to use and no training. So find out what program they have and are they willing to train you on it. And is it an in-person training? Because I know of one franchise company that puts you in virtual training and there's no human factor involved. So find out which training for these programs. Okay, office environment and culture is huge. So is the office, a lot of 100% offices, you will find that they could be a virtual office where you do everything virtually. You don't have an office place to meet clients. You meet them in a coffee shop or some place that's not an office. So you need to find out those options as well. Or do you have an in-person office with a beautiful conference room that you can sit down with clients, meet them, and do business? Culture, is it competitive or collaborative? Okay, what I mean by that? A real estate broker, we're talking about the managing broker, the designated broker that you work for. Some offices, they sell, okay? And some offices, they have to sell to make ends meet because it's so costly to own a real estate brokerage. So are they competing with you? Are they taking leads that you could have had? Or are you going on a listing appointment to list somebody's house to find out your broker was there before you and you're both competing on that same house? That's a competing broker. In my company, I was not a competing broker. I did a couple sales throughout the year to friends and past clients, but I wasn't out trying to get business. So you need to find out, is the broker competing or not? Or is the company owner competing with you? okay? Because some brokers are broker owners and some own the real estate company and hire a broker. So find out what the situation there is. Office resources, networking events. Is the office out in the community, and what are the resources to help you? And how do they network into the community? And do they have a good name, an ethical, honest name that you want to be associated with for a long time? Okay. Legal and ethical standards. I just mentioned this. Clean disciplinary history. You can go online and find out if your company that you're going to be working for has had any disciplinary actions against them. Something that you need to know. Strong compliance culture. Now, in my company, I owned it for almost 20 years. We were audited one time by the state. It was arbitrarily, we were audited. It was huge. They went through files. It was just a nightmare. But we came through just fine. But some offices, if they're not processing their paperwork and complying with the law of the state, and they get audited, you could get in trouble as well. So you want to make sure that they are in compliance with the state and they're doing things the right way. Okay. Professionally handling of disputes. How do they handle disputes? Do they have a team of agents that are mediators? Does the broker make the final decision? How do they handle the situations that come up? You'll find situations where one client's working with two agents in one office, and how is that handled fairly? So we'll find out about that as well. So final tips for choosing wisely. I would interview multiple brokers. Use the information I gave you here to do those interviews. Read their contracts carefully. Make sure there's no hidden fees that you don't know about. And ask them if you can shadow an agent. Reach out to some of their agents and ask their agents, how do you like working for this company? Maybe they'll even let you come to an office meeting. I know my office meetings, I used to do training, and I would invite agents to come in from competing brokerages to sit with us in our office training. So I would highly recommend that you do that. But please, guys, think long-term. This is not just short-term, and it's not all about the commission. I've been in this forever. I've been on both sides, and there's more to it than just the commission, because you want a long-term successful career. So I hope you got something out of this video. We're going to dive into the book here in the next few videos. So like or subscribe, and we'll keep on going. So thanks a lot for joining us, guys.